I'm here today with Mariana Ceballos Delgado, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She's a psychologist from Colombia, and she works in human talent management. So I'm going to pass it over to you, Mariana, and maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself, and exactly what it's like to work as a psychologist and also in human talent management. So please go ahead.
First of all, thank you, Karina, for having this space for letting me come into Soto. I'm really excited to be here. And as you said, my name is Mariana. I'm from Colombia. I have more than 4 years of experience as a psychologist, and I'm a psychologist in the clinical side and also in the organizational side. So whenever we talk about human talent management, that's whenever we work with our organizational part, which is companies. And what I do over here is I connect psychology with what companies really want. So I work with personal selection. I work with developing programs aimed to promote growth and well-being, not only for the company, but for people themselves. So what I really like about organizational psychology is that, and also personal selection, I select someone that's going to be for the long haul for the companies. It's someone that's going to adapt well. It's going to like be well around their colleagues, their teammates, everyone, so that they can truly be happy. So it's not only a job where you will be efficient, it's somewhere that you're going to be there and you're going to be happy with your work-life balance. And that's also what I do with the programs of well-being and balance, and so that people can truly have a life that they want and not be absorbed by work. And that's what I do with my organizational and my specialization. And I also work as a clinical psychologist. So I have my private practice. I work as a clinical psychologist. My orientation is CBT, cognitive behavioral psychologist. I also have humanistic tendencies and mindfulness techniques. So what I do is I connect what you want, who you are, your thoughts, your emotions, and with your behavior so that you can align everything and be who you truly want to be.
Thanks, Mariana. So I have a follow-up on that, and I'm curious to know when it comes to working with people in this regard, are there any issues that tend to come up more often than not?
Yeah, so actually, whenever we work with CBT, we have two big things, which is irrational thoughts. And the irrational thoughts come in two ways. The first one is the capacity to feel loved, and the other one is that you feel like you're not enough. And whenever we talk with somebody that haven't dealt with childhood traumas, both of them come up. And you can see them really, really clearly. But the most clear symptom that you can see, the immediate symptom that we can see, it's anxiety. So whenever they come over to therapy, the first thing that we work on is the anxiety they're bringing from their childhood traumas. And we balance this anxiety because it shows in different forms. It can be on psychosomatic symptoms like really bad migraines, back pains, gastritis, or intestinal problems. And it's like your body's yelling you that I cannot take it anymore. That the anxiety has gone into a place where you cannot control it. Or we can sit with intrusive thoughts, people who have insomnia, people who cannot sleep well, people who cannot work or function the way they want to because of the intrusive thoughts and the everything that brings anxiety. So that's what we work on in the first place, and that's the most common symptom that we can see and why people come to therapy.
Would you say this is also sometimes related, so anxiety or stress is also sometimes related to an inability to forgive maybe a parent, a family member, a friend, or somebody based on something that's happened in the past?
Absolutely. So whenever we do not, it doesn't mean that somebody has to apologize or somebody has to do something that we can have the life that we want to, because it doesn't work that way. And people are not going to be the way that we want them to be. But it means that you let go of projects, you let go of things that are not yours. When your mother, your father, your aunt, your uncle, your grandfather, whoever it is, was rude in a certain way, hurt you, and you're still carrying all of that, It's like a cross that you're having on the back of your back. And even if the person is not there, you're carrying everything that they told you, and that's a really, really big and heavy load to have because it's not yours and it's something that's keeping you from being who you want. It's keeping you to having like your full potential.
For people that feel that forgiveness would justify something perhaps terrible or something not so nice that another person did, what would you say to that?
So forgiveness is not justifying what they did and just forgetting everything. It's about, first of all, understanding all of the perspective. Because what happens with forgiveness is that we feel that we only have one perspective, which is they hurt us. We're not seeing the complete perspective of everything. And that whenever we understand everything that happened, it's easier for us not to hold on the grudge that they hurt us because they made a mistake, but for us to really let go of the grudge, understand what happened, not justifying your actions, but I understand you. But I also know that this is my limit, that I do not want this in my life. I forgive you, but this is my point. I will not let you do this anymore. And that's whenever we can let go and forgive.
And so to bring this full circle, you had already kind of given some suggestions, but what overall can people do to improve their well-being when it comes to anxiety, whether it's related to an inability to forgive or another issue?
So there's two main things that we can do to improve our well-being. First of all, we have to like keep a balance with our biological and our body. So uh, we all know it, but you don't know how important it is to sleep, to eat well, to do exercise, and to connect with nature. So these four things will be a game changer for you. First of all, whenever we sleep well, and sometimes we do not even know what sleep well means. Sometimes you can sleep more than 10 hours and wake up and be exhausted. So you're not having a repair for sleep. Even if you sleep 6 hours, but you wake up and you're good to go, that's perfect. That's what you truly want to have. So having a sleep routine beforehand, before sleeping, and also having a good routine whenever you wake up will change your days. The next one is eating. You know that you have to eat more than 3 times a day and also healthy food because it's something that everybody knows. But we also have to identify whenever we're stress eating. We're just eating because we have to avoid or we're avoiding something that's in the back of our minds and we don't want to be there anymore. So we're picking here, picking there, and being all over the place. Knowing what when this happens and affronting and be there with all of the problems and confronting your anxiety instead of stress eating it. The next one is doing exercise. Exercise is a game changer because of the hormone, the dopamine it releases on your body. It literally immediately makes you feel better. So it's something that it's good for your body too. Say whatever it is, the beauty standards, but it's not about beauty standards. It's about the hormone it releases and the way it makes you feel. That's the game changer. And whenever we connect with nature, we release also dopamine and we release all of this stress that we carry on to the week. And we can be happier and we can be like lighter. So those four things at first to control the biological part. Then the next one that we can do is our internal place. It's to improve our internal dialogue. When we improve our internal dialogue, we're stop being hard on ourselves, backlashing whenever we like made a mistake. And that's whenever you can see how good or bad your internal dialogue is, whenever you make mistakes, how you treat yourself when this happens. And at first, what you can do is just put light into this. What happens when you make a mistake and how do you treat yourself? Would you treat the way you treat yourself a friend whenever they make a mistake? Or would you treat them differently and why? And why are you treating yourself this way? That's whenever we connect with self-love, with compassion, with respect, and we truly know how we're treating ourselves. So these two things at first you can do to improve your overall well-being, the biological part and the internal dialogue.
Perfect, thank you. I would also like to mention to the viewers that Subtle is currently working on a book about forgiveness, and one of the people we interviewed is Mariana. So more on this inability to forgive, anxiety, stress, and the connection with all of these will be provided in the book and hopefully released this fall. So with that, Mariana, I also want to ask you about your services. So I know you work in human talent management as a psychologist, but also I believe there's one of the services you offer is connected to subtle energy, and I want to know if you can provide us with more information on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually have always been a passionate about crystals. And whenever I started studying psychology, it really interests me the connection that they have because we use crystals for similar things in our life. So whenever we need confidence, we need self-love, abundance, finances, creativity, we use different kind of crystals to get it. And we treat the crystal, we cleanse it, we charge it, we take care of it so they can give us the energy that we need in our lives. And it works. But whenever we have somebody and whenever we see the psychology behind the crystals, it's truly interesting because it's not only about how like the crystal works, it's the capacity that our brain has to work on things that we truly want. So we have always like heard about the placebo effect. What we want, if we intend it with really good intention and really good force from a really good place, you're gonna get it. And that's whenever I connect this with crystals. It will reinforce the intention and facilitate the cognitive restructuring needed for personal growth. You're gonna get everything that you have. So if you put this intention into the crystal, you're gonna get it. So if we look at it into a more technical terms, the crystal themselves and acting as a catalyst for the brain to reorganize and align its mental schemas with the desire that you want to have. That's what the crystal do. And if you can connect them and you put the intention to it, you're gonna get everything that you want in your life. The most important thing is that you get in the intention for a good place.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Mariana, for taking the time to do this interview. And I look forward to connecting with you again soon.